Greetings. I wanted to take a little bit of time to talk about the metaphysics behind Islam. This could be a really long topic, of course, but I'm just going to go over a few of the main points that I want to hit, because there's a few main points that I want to hit when it comes to the metaphysics of Islam, because I'm building up to something, of course, like I was saying with these videos. Now, when you talk about the metaphysics of Islam, first have to understand the history of the religion of Islam. Now, I did a lot of videos on Christianity, so to all you Muslims out there that's listening to this, I don't have anything against anybody's religion, anybody's persuasion. I just simply teach and offer what I see as the truth or whatever based upon my research, you know what I'm saying? So that's basically what it all comes down to. I believe at the end of the day, really, all of you guys, whether you're Christians or Muslims, are all being deceived. You guys are all pretty much worshiping the same entity or whatever. You guys need to definitely look into the entity that you're worshiping or whatever when it comes to religion. Now, what I want to point out here is that Islam did not start out as a religion. That's the first thing I want to point out here. Islam came from a culture. What you see in Islam as the religion now today, the way that people dress and certain aspects of it, all of that came from different cultural aspects that were brought together. That's why they have different types of dress depending on which country you're from as a Muslim. If you're from Morocco, you dress one way. If you're from Saudi Arabia, you dress another way. If you're from Ghana, you dress another way. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're from America as a Muslim, you dress another way. So all different types of Muslims dress according to their culture. You know what I'm saying? That's the bottom line when it comes to like Islam. It was always based upon culture, and what happened was is that a religious, which was really social engineering, a religious political system, or religio-political system was created called Islam to basically as a vehicle to eventually gain control over the Middle East and West Africa and basically those parts of the world. And we know that the religious vehicle of Islam was came out of the Catholic Church. There's a lot of information out there, and I'm not going to go into too much of this information here. You can research the stuff for yourself. But I'll say this: the Catholics worship Fatima, which was one of the so-called daughters of Prophet Muhammad. Her name was Fatima. So a lot of the information or whatever pertaining to Islam or whatever came from out of the Catholic Church. You can research this stuff as a proven fact. Most of your religions, period, all of them come from the same thing. At the end of the day, the Catholic Church is a zero-time reference of religion because all religion goes back to the Catholic Church. So, and it's no different with Islam. The Pope has a Quran. It's no different. But let me go into like the Quran and stuff like that. That's what I want to talk about here or whatever. Now, in Prophet Muhammad and exactly who he was and all of that. Now, there's different, just like the Jesus figure, there's different Prophet Muhammads. I talked about Jesus, so I have to talk about Prophet Muhammad. Now, there's different Prophet Muhammads from my research, especially according to Dr. Malachi Z. York. According to Dr. Malachi Z. York, he says that there was an albino Prophet Muhammad, and then there was a melanated or Nubian Prophet Muhammad Prophet Muhammad that came from out of West Africa. Now, I haven't done any hardcore research outside of him to really prove this point, but what I will say is this: I tend to lean towards what he's saying in belief because of the fact that I believe that a lot of what you see as far as Islam or whatever now changed, just like everything else. It changed or whatever, and I believe that most of it pretty much was based on African cultures and African principles, and it was turned around and turned into more of a religious political thing, and then came back into Africa and into West Africa and places like that to enslave Africa to a religious paradigm. That's what I feel like, you know what I'm saying? Ultimately, Islam was created to do or whatever. Now, and that was, of course, by those people that wanted to control the world at that time. Now, you got to realize religion is one of the most controlling factors when it comes to society. A lot of times when you hear about people getting murdered, assassinated and all that, it has nothing to do with the government. It has nothing to do with the government killing them. A lot of times it's people in religious orders that move in on those people, because religion is, they make you think it's one way, but religion is cutthroat. A lot of blood is shed. Read some of the oaths that a lot of these big time people in these religious orders take, because you have the people in the religion and you have the people in the religious orders. So you have what's called the Hashemites, you know what I'm saying, or the assassins, and then you have the Muslims. There's a difference or whatever. So and I'm going to go into that a little bit more, but you have to understand that you have, like, just like you have the Jesuits and then you have Catholics. You know what I'm saying? You have, it's different degrees, and when you start looking at their orders and their oaths that they take, and a lot of those orders, yeah, they'll take you out. They take oaths to kill anybody that's outside of their order. You know what I'm saying? If it comes down to it, if the order comes down, they'll do that. When you start talking about Mossad and all of that type of stuff. So, I mean, just pointing that out because people think that religion is some patsy game or whatever. It's all hunky-dory, and it's not. It's a lot that goes down in secret. You know what I'm saying, when it comes to religion. And I know a lot of times that people in society, they don't want to hear this stuff, and they're like, oh, you're talking about this on YouTube. What are they going to do? I mean, the information's out there, people. I mean, you can go look up the oaths that the Jesuits take online or whatever. You can go look up the oaths that, you know what I'm saying, different people take online. Everything's on the internet. I'm not saying anything that's on the internet. That's not on the internet. So, nah, it's not even like that. I don't have any fear in my heart about worrying about somebody coming against me because I'm talking about a religion or whatever. That some information that's been out here. So we already know Islam was, and different religions were created to control the indigenous aspect and the ancestral aspect of what these different tribes had set up. Because you have to realize, before Africa was Africa, it was just a land with a bunch of different tribes on it. And those tribes, each tribe has a different rituals and different customs that they do. So what they wanted to do with religion was, that was the beginnings of creating the global economy. They wanted to create basically a paradigm where it was like, you got three choices: Christianity, Islam, Judaism, pretty much. And then you got Buddhism in if you're in Asia or whatever. So you got 3 or 4 choices or whatever. They want to set it up like that. So that's where Islam came from. I mean, that's why it was constructed or whatever. It's based on control. Now let's go into like breaking down the metaphysics and the components, because there's a lot of truth in Islam. So a lot, if you get the Quran, there's a lot in the Quran. Now the Quran itself was actually, before it became the Quran and the Catholics got it and turned it into a religious, spiritual book, it was actually a law book. It was actually a law book. And it was called the Holy Quran Sharif. The term Sharif is dealing with the law enforcer. A Sharif or a sheriff is one who enforces the law. So, and those people, that the enforcers of the law, had to have a Quran. They had to have a Quran. And that's one of the components dealing with the Quran or whatever. Now, most of the Quran came from basically an angelic order. It came from out of the order of Melchizedek, which was Al-Qadir. And when you read about the Quran, you hear about Al-Qadir, and you hear about Prophet Muhammad walking with Al-Qadir and all of that. That's Melchizedek in the Quran. So a lot of the Quran came from out of the order of Melchizedek. And then you have other parts of the Quran that came from the angel Jibril. But a lot of people don't know the angel Jibril. Some people call her Gabriel, is a female entity. The Melchizedek entity is a hermaphrodite, male and female. The Gabriel entity is a more so a female-based entity. So Gabriel, like Melchizedek, was a male. He was a hermaphrodite, so he was a male with female parts. Well, you have with the you have with Gabriel, or what they call Jibril in Islam. Jibril was what you would call a female. She was a female or whatever, and a lot of the spiritual aspect of the Quran came from Jibril, and it was revealed through the Sufi order. See, a lot of the Quran came through a Sufi order, and the original Prophet Muhammad was really based upon the Sufi order. You know what I'm saying? He came from out of the Sufi order. He was a Sufi. You know what I'm saying? And that's what he was into or whatever. Now, I know a lot of Muslims out there are like, hold on. So you're saying Sufism, that's the best sect? I'm not talking about the sect of Sufism. I'm talking about the system, the spiritual system of Sufism, not getting into no type of religion, because the term Sufi means to go up under the wool or to go up under the veil. And the Sufis learn and master, like when I talk about people walking through walls and all that stuff, you think I'm crazy, but I've seen and been around Sufis, and I've seen a lot of mystical things that you guys probably have never seen. I've seen people and took part in rituals where I have lifted people up in the air with one finger. Where I've lifted somebody up in the air, me and 2 other people lifted up a man that was 200 pounds with one finger. I've took part in rituals like that, but that's from dealing in the Sufi order or whatever. So that's where like the essence of the Quran, the spiritual parts, that where you really get something from it, it makes your spirit feel good. That came from the angel that was channeled, the angel Jibril, which was a female, and that's who the Allah is in the Quran. The Allah, or Alat, is feminine. It's a feminine principle or whatever, because Alat is a feminine, is a goddess. You know what I'm saying? Alat is older than Allah. The masculine principle came later. And I know a lot of Muslims, like, they don't like that because Islam is patriarchal, but that's the religion. You see, you have the religion aspect of Islam, or the religious aspect, and then you have the cultural aspect. And that's what I'm breaking down here, or the metaphysical aspect. So the metaphysical aspect goes into Sufism, it goes into a lot of spiritualism, it goes into even a lot of communication with ETs. In Islam, when you read about Prophet Muhammad, they say that Prophet Muhammad, the way he got the Quran, he was taken up in an ascension, on a night ascension. And that ascension was him being taken up into a craft. Prophet Muhammad was taken up into a craft, and basically revealed the Quran. He was hooking up into a UFO and revealed the Quran or whatever. And I mean, when you read the text, and I know a lot of people like, I mean, that have like a lot of the Nuwapians out there. I mean, of course, you already know what I'm talking about or whatever. But like when you read the text itself, I mean, you see it. You see exactly what I'm talking about as far as the cloud and all of that. You know that he wasn't just hooking up to some mystical cloud floating in the air. It was a UFO that came, and he was revealed information, and they told him to read. And it wasn't that he was illiterate, because they try to make you think Prophet Muhammad was illiterate. It was not that. It was that the text was revealed in the alien language at the time. And Prophet Muhammad didn't know how to read no type of alien language or whatever. So that's why they said, Iqra, read. And the Quran had to be revealed to him in his language. And it was later on revealed to him in his language. But that was the original pure essence of the Quran that was revealed and channeled through the Sufi order. And the Quran that a lot of people are reading now, you have to remember, it's mixed in with politics. That's why you see a lot of political stuff in the Quran. So the Quran that a lot of people are reading today, it's not like the original one. Like, it's not the essence of what the ideas that were revealed through the angel. A lot of that has been diluted. A lot of, in the darkness, is like a lot of it has crept into the Quran. But the Quran is still a lot of truth in it. So it's still a lot of truth in it, and not only that, but a lot of inspiration in it. The Quran is a very inspiring book or whatever, definitely. So that's my brief one-on-ones on Islam and just going into the metaphysics of understanding it, because I had a lot of people asking me questions like, well, how do you feel about Islam or whatever? You talked about Christianity, you talked about everything else, you never really talked about Islam. Like, how do you feel about that? So I definitely had to go into that. I mean, I'm just really trying to show you guys that in every religion there's an esoteric aspect to it. So that's why I don't really take sides. It's best to just play all sides, because there's an esoteric aspect to all religions or whatever, to where I can go in a Buddhist temple, I can go to a masjid, I can go to a mosque, if you want to call it that. I can go to a church or synagogue or a temple or a lodge and basically feel at home. You know what I'm saying? So it really doesn't matter to me like where I'm at or whatever. Basically, you look for the truth, the esoteric aspect of things. Like, religion has the exoteric and the esoteric. So you look for the esoteric. I mean, it's nothing different from Islam than all the other religions, and that's how you know they were created as tools to control, because they wanted to give you all the things that you had in your tribal customs and put that into religion or whatever. So, and put that up under one God to bring in the world government. Because, and I mean, a part of it, I do want to bring balance or whatever, a part of the agenda of the world government, you know what I'm saying? Like, a part of it is understandable where they were at in the beginning, but going about it trying to control people is not the way to go about doing it. You can't control people into being, and you can't control humanity into being united up under one government. Like, that's not how it works. You can't use greed and capitalism and lower chakra energy and unite people up under that, you know what I'm saying, and expect it to thrive. You have to unite people up under a higher principle and a higher standard, and then that will make people want to unite up under it. So that'll make people want to change themselves versus being forced to do it. So that's really what religion, it attempts to force the world to be a certain kind of way instead of teaching people. See, religion really is just a lazy way of controlling people, because the religions fail to realize all of them go back to, and I'm talking about the political side of it, all of them go back to disagreeable aliens. There's disagreeable aliens from the skies of Orion and different other star constellations that are controlling you. And that's why in the Bible they say Oranos is heaven, because the beings that are controlling you are from heaven or up there, which is Orion. That's where they come from. And there's 6 stars or 6 suns up there. That's why they're obsessed with the number 6, because they have 6 suns up there or whatever. So those beings are other beings that created all the religions as far as like religion. Now when you start talking about ancestral worship and tribal worship, nah, that's going a little bit deeper. You know what I'm saying? There's not, they're usually in most ancestral worship, it's usually a balance offer where it's not energy just offered up to one being or whatever. It's energy offered up to multiple different beings or whatever, for different rituals and different things. See, that's the deception of religion. They put you up under one being, because essentially you guys are all up under the same being no matter what religion you're in. That's why all you guys wear beads. Like, that's why I can have this symbol on my neck. I have this symbol on my neck. You guys can't see it. I can't really take it off right now, but this is actually Egyptian symbol with the Z pillars on it. And I get Muslims walking up to me saying Assalamu alaikum. You know what I'm saying? I get people saying shalom to me. I mean, like, when I have my beads on, you'd be surprised. I got people saying namaste to me, because they don't really know. These people are in those religions, and they thinking I'm in their religion because they see me, like they may see me looking a certain way, looking like them, and they're like gravitated towards like, oh, you're in my religion, right? And I know they're greedy, so I greet them back, and I don't argue, and I'm gonna say, no, I'm not in a religion. I'm not controlled by religion, because I understand. You know what I'm saying? I understand. So you might see me come on here and make these videos, but I got to bring balance to this thing. I mean, I demonstrate with everybody. I'll go to a masjid and demonstrate and pray in the masjid right now. I'll go to church right now. I have no blockages when it comes to that. Now, church, I'm gonna have to think about that. I just thought about it, because church, it's a lot of in a lot of these churches or whatever, people don't realize there's a lot of mind control that goes on in church or whatever, as far as in the music and the vibrations and the tones. And going to church is just like, really, like, I mean, I'll go, like I said, but it's no different than if you're going to a nightclub. You could be possessed by a certain spirit when you're in church or whatever. And I know a lot of Christians don't want to hear this, but that spirit that you're being possessed by might not necessarily be agreeable. Because, I mean, the tones that are being played by the organs and those deep tones, a lot of times they invoke some really powerful spirits. And that's when you start talking about being filled with the Holy Ghost. What kind of a ghost? I don't want to be filled with a ghost. The Holy Ghost, what is that? It's a ghost. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times I really don't too much mess with the church thing. Just to be always honest with you guys, you got to really put on a bunch of crystals and all that when you go up in there, because you never know what type of spells they try to put up on you. But I'll go up in there, but I'll make sure I got my stones on me or whatever. So I'm just joking around or whatever, but I'm serious at the same time. But I thank you guys for listening. I thank you guys for watching. That's my brief video on metaphysics pertaining to Islam 101. For more information, I ask that you visit my website. And until we meet again, I'll leave you all in. Peace.